AITA for backing out of cooking for my DH's guests after he told me, "Do your job." My husband and I both work equal hours. I'm a hairstylist working at a salon and he is a warehouse manager. My mill is very sexist and lives in the 1950s still. She said women can't stop taking care of their households as a priority no matter what they achieve. I hated this and it caused endless problems between us. My husband learned to do everything from folding his clothes to fixing the toilet except cooking. His mom taught him that his future wife should do everything so he didn't have to learn. He defended me against her and cut contact with her. She hasn't participated in a gathering since 2015 due to family not wanting her around. My husband cleans while I cook, but he tends to complain from time to time and throw some weird opinions at me that are similar to what his mom thinks. I get it since he's been raised by her and this mentality takes time to go away. Last week he had guests over and asked me to help him host dinner. We agreed that I cook and he clean like always. Guests arrived and my husband sat with them while I was in the kitchen cooking. I had issues with the oven. I was running late and dinner wasn't ready yet. My husband rushed into the kitchen asking why dinner wasn't ready yet. I said I'd be done soon. He grabbed few glasses while pressuring me to hurry up. I made a comment about how I didn't even get to meet his guests and how unfair it was. He casually said, "Just do your job," and rushed out. I was shocked. I stopped him and asked, "What did you just said to me?" He looked at me quizzically. I turned the oven off and stopped cooking. He was freaking out saying, No, wait. What are you doing?" while I took my apron off. I said I don't work for him to tell me to do my job, and he should take over cooking if he thought I was slow. He begged me not to do this to him and explained he didn't mean to tell me to do my job but only spoke this way since he's used to say stuff like that at work and wasn't paying attention. I refused to continue cooking and went upstairs to wash the smell of onion off me. I left him in the kitchen to handle serving dinner on his own and he came upstairs 2 hours later. After the guests left and looked an absolute mess. Hair messed up. And his shirt stained. He asked if I was happy and proud of proving a point by backing out of cooking last minute just 'cause he slipped and accidentally said, "Do your job." I told him that he's an adult and is responsible for what comes out his mouth, accidental or not, and again said I didn't have to cook for his guests and that I only volunteered to help, and he sounded like his mother with what he said. He said it wasn't true and that he was disappointed because I didn't stick to my word and left him to fend for himself and embarrassed him in front of guests by giving them half-cooked meals over something so dumb. He walked out after changing his clothes and called me mean. He wants an apology for backing out last minute knowing he can't cook. AITA? NTA. How do I count the ways? Why does your husband still not know how to cook? He could have made an effort to learn as an adult. That's a rude thing to say even at work. So his excuse for acting like a dick at home is that he's also a dick at work? I think it is pretty obvious that if you insult someone while they're doing you a favor, they might not want to do the favor anymore. Demanding an apology for this is just entitled. He should be the one apologizing, if he hasn't already. NTA. Just because he accidentally said what he was pretty obviously thinking. Right. And then he has the nerve to be more worried about saving face in front of his buddies than mistreating his own wife. So he blames you. He is the problem here. NTA. It's past time for him to learn to cook. Because it's not your job. He owes you an apology. Also, show him this post. NTA. Good for you for not putting up with your husband's CR at P. There is a fundamental truth in your relationship. You know how to cook and he doesn't. That means that when it comes to cooking, you have a value he doesn't in. As you just showed him, you are in a position of power. He needs to appreciate what you do for him, not take it for granted and bark out orders to you. I will say this, he will remember this lesson. If you had backed down at the last minute, he would have taken it as you would back down if he pushed you hard enough. Now he knows you mean business and you will not be pushed around and you will not be treated like a servant. A marriage is a partnership, not a corporation where one person is a boss. The correct way for him to act is to show you gratitude for the efforts you put into that night's gathering. NTA. I also feel like it needs to be recognized that all of this started because OP's husband actually interfered with her cooking. I don't know what kind of barn he was raised in, but you don't go storming into the kitchen and inform the cook that they're taking too long. Especially when you yourself do not cook. He can't have it both ways. Either he stops pretending that choice parts of his anatomy are going to fall off if he touches the stove and starts helping out, or he stays out of her damned way. NTA. If you don't mind me asking, but does he do that a lot? If so, why do you put up with it? 'Cause like it doesn't seem like he is actually growing or maturing, but that he is just swallowing it down. Ya know. NTA. You are not his employee. If I volunteer to help someone and they disrespect me, I will leave. People that say men shouldn't have to cook are idiots. What happens when they are single and living on their own? Cooking and cleaning are survival skills. They should be learned regardless of gender. NTA. If he can't cook a meal and is dependent on you to do so, then it would behoove him to 1. Believe you when you say you're having problems with the oven, since you know what you're talking about and he doesn't. And 2. Be respectful and kind to the person doing the work. Rushing into the kitchen demanding dinner and pressuring you to hurry up. I don't know how you're supposed to make things cook faster than they do. Is awfully entitled behavior from the guy who refuses to cook. Do your job was the coup de grace. I'd first of all like to address something people seem to be missing. He needs to not be inviting people over for meals if he can't cook. Full stop. If it's important for him to have people over for meals, he needs to learn to cook meals for groups. Having already invited people over for a meal, and gotten you to agree to cook said meal, he absolutely should not have been badgering you about the timing of your cooking. You were doing him a huge favor, and he treated you like a subordinate rather than a generous wife. Of course you wouldn't want to do him this favor anymore after that. I'm glad you stood your ground. I do think you need to put your foot down about any future dinners though. He stops inviting people over for meals until he has learned to cook said meals. NTA. NTA. If my husband did that, dinner party would have been over there itself and an argument would have ensued. Do your job. Sounds like you are his indentured servant. Plus, his few comments which you told he blurts from time to time make me believe this might not been a slip of tongue. That's his mentality right there. Have a talk with him and maybe get him involved in cooking. Cooking is an essential life skill and he needs to learn. Tell him this. NTA. He should be apologizing left and right to you. I find the dynamic odd though. He invited friends over? The two of you didn't extend the invite to these people as a couple? When he said, do your job, you should have grabbed a comb and a brush and started styling the guest's hair while he cooked the food. NTA. He should be embarrassed for speaking to you that way. NTA. Sounds like what slipped out is what he really thinks. NTA, is this a common occurrence in your house? Sexist comments are unacceptable in my eyes. I would do some reflecting about how he treats you on a daily basis. It seems his mom's toxic misogyny has infected him just a bit. There's no way. Do your job, was an automatic response. He seemed remarkably unsympathetic to your struggles to get dinner fixed. I can see why you were angry. NTA. NTA, he can sit down to wait for that apology. No, dear sir, no. NTA, he was absolutely disrespectful to you. NTA, husband is still carrying misogynistic views. Even if he isn't vocal on them, he needs to apologize to you. But if you choose to continue this relationship, perhaps a day where you teach him basic cooking? That way he can start cooking once a week and escalate it over time, to the point where the cooking is evenly spilt between you two. Also spilt cleaning. Yeah, op. You're right. And he shouldn't have told you to do your job. However, due to his history and the arrangements, I think you did go too overboard. You left him to do everything when he did rely on you. And he was stressed at the moment. I know that isn't much of an excuse for him to say what he said. But doing what you did, completely leaving your husband, is practically no better. You need to be there for your partner, through the good and the bad. When he messes up on accident, you can't just leave him. I'm sure you mess up yourself often. You wouldn't want your husband to leave you as soon as you did. Leaving spouses on an honest mistake is not okay unless you want to say that you're somehow perfect and never make a mistake. That's why everyone sucks here. Your husband said something bad on accident, which is expected for him to say it due to his upbringing. But you suck for leaving him immediately due to his small slip-up. That's not how a loving family should be. Leaving each other when they need you because they made a mistake.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.